All right, guys, our next guest is an MMA legend who is a UFC 8 and UFC Ultimate 1996 tournament winner. He has the most iconic mustache in the sport, and he joins us here today. It's a pleasure to welcome Don the Predator Frye back to Submission Radio. Don, welcome to the program.
Thanks, ladies. How y'all doing?
Ladies, it's like you've known us all our lives, Don. It's great to have you back on. It's always fun when you come on, and it's been a while since we've heard from you. So tell us, what have you been up to? What has Don Frye been doing?
Yeah, it's been a while because you're too damn cheap to make the phone call, I guess. Cheap bastard.
Yeah.
Wife, Molly finally said she had enough of my bullshit, so she decided to divorce me.
Really?
I'm feeling sorry for myself, and besides that, my horse died. This is my horse, Truck ain't running right. I'm just having a barrel of laughs.
Now, Dom, is this for real? Are you really going through a divorce, and did your horse really die? Or are you just pulling our finger here?
No, yeah, that's all true, partner. That's all true.
Oh man, sorry to hear it. How long has this been going on?
Fuck, I don't know. You never know with a woman. When they start planning shit. Shit. I think she's been planning them for years. She dropped it in my lap and freaking me out. I guess, it's hard living with me. It's shit, I don't even like myself. Jeez, I can't imagine a woman doing like me.
Well done. I mean, this means that a single Don Frye is coming out to the market. What's it feel like to be single for since probably the last 10 years or so? I think you and Molly have been together for a while, haven't you?
20 years. Yeah, we were together 20 years, partner.
Wow.
Yeah. It must have been like a prison sentence for her.
So we imagine that no woman in like the 100-mile radius is safe now. Don Frye is back and he's coming out to party. Is that correct?
They're all in trouble, boy. If they got a snatch, they're in trouble.
even the ones here in Australia better be put on notice because Don Frye is out and ready to go. Now, we know that you've obviously had a few things going on, but we have to ask you, Don, I mean, when you're not working on movies on TV, what does a typical week look like for Don Frye?
Hell, I do all kinds of stupid things, but in a couple of weeks, my youngest daughter, Cassie, and I are getting ready to go over to my buddy, Justin Kipp. He's got a ranch over in Lordsburg, New Mexico, and we're going to help him with his cattle drive. We do that twice a year, and we have a great night. Cassie's a hell of a rider. Shit, she's almost better than I am.
We're talking horses, right? We're city slickers, so I don't know how much we know about cattle drives. What exactly does that involve? You guys are riding horses and you're steering the cattle, or what exactly is that?
Yeah, you get on a horse and you herd them all, you get to one side of the ranch and you herd them into the center and into the corrals, and you separate them, and, we notch their ears, we brand them, some of them you got to dehorn. It just depends. It's a working cattle ranch.
Wow. It does sound like a lot of fun. Now, we also enjoy seeing you on the big screen. We have to ask you, have you been working on any new television or movie projects lately?
Yeah, I did a movie called Street Level with David LaBrava. He played Happy on Sons of Anarchy.
Ah.
And had Robert Patrick, Chuck Zito, and a bunch of other names in it, and had a lot of fun. And today I just went over to Drew Katamura's house. He was the director of the Godzilla movie I did. And so we started talking about a movie he's going to do in summer.
Because we were looking at your IMDb, and you've got one that we spoke about last time, the one about the world as if it would be run by Nazi Germany. What's this one that you're talking about that you're going to be shooting in the summer? What's that one called?
Oh, shit. He didn't tell me, but it's a pretty interesting film, and hope he don't get mad at me spilling the beans. But, it's about a sniper, and he picks some targets and has some fun.
Well, let me ask you something, Don. When you prepare for a role, I mean, how do you prepare? Do you go and sort of do what your character would do to prepare for it? Do you just sort of rock up and once the cameras are on and it's action, you just get in the character on the spot? How do you prepare for a role usually?
Oh, hell's bells. I've done almost everything there is to do, so I just walk up and, just remember your lines and don't bump into the furniture.
You crack your knuckles and then you're ready to go. So if you're playing a sniper, did you go out and do any sniping? Did you actually shoot some targets?
Oh, shit, partner. I've been shooting guns before you were born. Shit.
I have an easy time believing that.
Gasper has a young sounding voice, but he's actually 93 years old, so I don't know if that could be true.
What kind of guns are you shooting, Don?
Well, when you come over, we'll just put an apple in your head and we'll see how good I am, huh?
Yeah, well, we'll see if I live to tell the tale. What kind of gun are you using to shoot this apple off my head? Are you using a sniper rifle, shotgun by any chance? Because I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, I use a shotgun on you. Shit.
I guess I'll be looking for a new co-host after our trip to America, Don.
Job security. I got an AR-10, which is a really nice weapon made by Patriot Ordnance Factory out of Phoenix. And, the AR-10 shoots a 308. AR-15 shoots a 223 or a 556, and I like my 10. I have a lot of fun with that thing.
Is that we don't really have too many guns here in Australia? Is that an automatic gun or what exactly is AR-10?
It's a semi-automatic.
That's all right.
You get all these damn politicians yelling automatic guns. There's no such thing. All right, that's a machine gun, and those things are illegal unless you got a special license, and the government has the right to come in at any time to check it. So it's just showing how stupid politicians are. They don't know their head from their ass and what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Semi-auto is the best you can get. If you're just a regular person.
Don Frye taking us to school when it comes to guns. I'm learning a lot here, Don. Now, we're on the heels of UFC 197, and we'd love to get your thoughts on some of the big fights from the event. Now, did you get a chance to watch many of the fights from UFC 197, Don?
Yeah, but I had to have somebody hit me with a cattle prod every couple of minutes to wake me up. Jeez, what is that? Is that a sleeper?
Which ones did you fall asleep to? Which ones did you sleep the most heavily through, Don?
I mean, they were all bad. Jeez, the freaking ways. I mean, Jon Jones, what'd they throw? About 7 punches the whole fight? Crime, and they stayed about 10 feet away from each other.
Before we jump to the Jon Jones fight, I want to get your thoughts about Demetrious Johnson, who put Henry Cejudo away in the first round and pretty much cleared out the flyweight division. Is Don Frye a Demetrious Johnson fan, and what would you like to see him do next?
Hell yeah, he did a great job, man. That guy is one of the best fighters walking the planet. The guy is so impressive, man. He's a good fella. Henry, what a dumbass. I mean, he looks like he just keeps wrestling and trying to learn any martial arts skills, how to fight, how to throw a punch, how to move his head, how to fight a sleeper or an arm bar. Jeez Louise, I don't know who the hell's managing. He's doing a bad job of it. And he's a new trainer.
I'm glad that you said that you're a Demetrious Johnson fan. Do you think he's underappreciated by the fans?
Of course he is. He's underappreciated by the promoters, too. I mean, he needs to be making twice as much money as he is. I don't know what he's making, but I'm sure they're not paying him what he's worth.
Yeah, no, certainly. He's discussed the fact that there is a big discrepancy, even though he is champion. A lot of guys like Conor McGregor might make a lot more money than him. Do you think he's in a tough position, though, because he's cleared out the division? He's no doubtly the best guy in the division. He doesn't really have anyone left to fight, and the UFC aren't really sure what to do with him. What would you do with him if you were in the head of the UFC? Where would you throw him next?
Well, I would get a pro wrestler and teach him how to shoot a promo. I mean, that's his problem. That's why Conor McGregor makes more money than anybody else. He knows how to cut a promo. And it's an art form, and you work at it just like you work at fighting any other skill. It's a skill, talent, and you got to work and train at it. And most people don't. That's why they aren't making money.
Yeah, we're big fans on the old cutting a promo and sort of selling the fight. You mentioned Jon Jones before, so talk to us. What exactly did you take issue with given his performance? I mean, he took on OSP with 3 weeks' notice. A lot of people expected Jones to finish OSP, but he himself was coming off a long layoff. Do you give him any leeway there?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Good, because the guy has so much talent. You know, for him to let that thing get out of the first round was insulting. You know, but I had some guy tell me, you know, Jones always has problems with somebody, you know, as tall as him, and that's true. You know, I mean, he fought Jorgensen, right?
Gustafson,
you know, that was a tough fight for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, this OSP fellow, you know, just as big, it was a tough fight for him. You know, criminy.
I'm curious. The next fight for Jones will be DC. Do you think Jones will be able to beat DC like he did in their first fight, or do you think this rematch goes differently?
Oh my God, it'll be the same thing. It'll be the same thing. Cormier is the most overrated, underperforming, worthless trash talker I've ever heard. I mean, it sounds like one of the Cosby kids, you know, biddy. You can't understand a damn thing he's saying, you know, and he keeps repeating the same stuff, and then he's not producing anything, and I don't know what the hell's going on up there at AKA, but you know, I would get a new trainer or a new training partners, you know, sparring partners. I mean, they're all getting hurt. Jeez, they got to do something different. They got to be smart enough to protect their fighters, or they're all going to starve to death.
I'm actually surprised on. I thought, considering Daniel Cormier, his love for professional wrestling, the fact that he does, you know, put a lot of effort into his promos. What is it that you don't like about his promos?
I think I don't see him putting any effort into them. My God, I think they're terrible. You know, and you know, he's acting like a badass, like he earned that belt. He didn't earn that belt. Criminy. You know, that as far as I'm concerned, that belt still belongs to Jon Jones.
It's certainly an interesting fight, and it could be at UFC 200. I mean, Dana White has mentioned that they might move the fight there depending on how DC goes with his injury and how Jones pulls up from this fight. And speaking of UFC 200 and the weekend surrounding the craziness, obviously there's going to be an international fight week in July in Vegas. I mean, it's still early days, but Don Frye, have you gotten any confirmation as to whether or not you'll be a part of International Fight Week this year?
Nobody's giving me a phone call, partner. So it's not looking good. It's looking like I'll be hanging out at the ranch.
But you got confirmation last time, very late notice. Do you reckon that'll happen? Are you holding out? And would you like to be part of it if the UFC wanted you there?
No, I'm not holding out. What do you think? I'm like some fat broad waiting on the date? You know, I got shit to do.
Obviously, you've spent some time previously during past fight weeks. We just wonder, what's the strangest fan interaction that you've had at these type of events? Do any stand out to you?
Oh my God, yeah, there's some weirdos, you know. I mean, some guy tried to hump my leg or something during the photo. Like,
what?
Damn it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, God dang, don't know what he was doing. I cleared him out there. But I had some girl so sweet, she just started crying. And I said, "Are you okay?" She said, "Yeah, I'm just so excited to meet you." I'm like, "Wow." And it was just the nicest thing, man, that poor little girl. I mean, she was bawling.
Wow. We wish fans would approach us like that. This guy that was trying to hump your leg. Yeah, I don't think it'll ever happen. This guy that was trying to hump your leg. What happened? What was your reaction when he did this?
I told him, "Get the hell away from me! Don't ever do that again. You know, go find somebody else to hump." And if he's smart, I'd never seen him again in his life.
I mean, we've got a lot of listeners that listen to this program weekly, and a lot of them might be at the next International Fight Week if you're there. What are a couple of tips that you can give them when it comes time for them to meet Don Frye? How should they? What's the best way to approach you at these events?
Show me your tits. You know, brush your teeth. You know, and,
maybe a nice bottle of something from the guys.
What's that?
Maybe a bottle of something. They can get you a good bottle of whiskey or something.
Yeah, that's it, man. That would make me happy.
Awesome. A shot of whiskey, and don't try and hump Don Frye's leg.
Yeah, nice bottle of bourbon.
Nice. Let's talk about the big news this week, Don. I mean, fans are shocked when Conor McGregor was pulled from UFC 200. For those who don't know, which I think is very few, McGregor obviously didn't want to do any major media world tour. He discussed how much all the promotion affected his fight preparation, his last fight, UFC 196. Got to get your thoughts, Don. What do you make of McGregor's stance?
I think he's right. He's spot on. I mean, that takes too much goddamn time away from you. You're hired to be a fighter, not to be an interviewee. You got things to do. I mean, it's when you're training for a fight, it's a 24/7 job, and they got you doing more interviews and promoting than they do fighting. Well, then you're not going to last long. You're not going to have a long career.
Well, fans are a bit frustrated because Nate Diaz doesn't mind the fact that McGregor couldn't make it down to the press conference and just wants to fight. McGregor's willing to fight. He's still willing to do some minimal press. The fans want to see the fight. Do you think it's sort of gotten into a bit of a ridiculous situation now where the only reason the fight's not happening is because the UFC just isn't happy about him skipping some of these media obligations?
Well, how do I say this without being rude? I guess I can't. I'm so pissed on it. Dana likes everything his way, and if he don't get his way, he throws a fit, and that's what's happening. And Conor's spot on, man. You can't spend more time doing interviews than training. This is a dangerous sport, okay? And the thing is, it went from a fight to a sport to a TV show, and it's still a dangerous thing, and so you have to prepare yourself for it because just training. If you're on one of those fights and you're not hurt, you don't get hurt, it still takes 2 weeks to recover because of all the hard training. But if you're not training, you're going to get hurt.
I mean, do you think that the UFC in a way is shooting themselves in the foot by not putting Conor on that card? Because it's fair to say it'd make a lot of money, with it'd make more money with him on it than say any other fight. And let me ask you this, Don: if you were the head of the UFC, let's say hypothetically, how would you fix this situation? What would the Don Frye touch be?
Oh hell, I'd fly Conor in and take him out, wine him and dine him, and tell him, okay, what do I got to do to get you, on the fight card, and how many promos can I get from you? I mean, we got to push the show. So we're gonna need some interviews. So how many are you willing to do?
Well, it's a great solution, and hopefully the UFC takes a page out of your book. Now, if somehow this fight is put back, Conor McGregor does fight Diaz again, we have to get your prediction. How do you think the rematch goes? Who do you think wins?
It all depends on the time spent in the gym, and that's what Conor's trying to tell him. If you don't have the dedication, I mean, the last fight, Diaz training for a triathlon. Jeez, the freaking ways. No wonder he's in such great shape. One thing, he's a really good fighter, and then he comes in a phenomenal conditioning. Criminy, how do you combat that? When you're flying around doing a bunch of interviews, more interviews than you do training. You're just setting yourself up for an ass kicking.
If the fight doesn't work out for whatever reason, would you like to see George St. Pierre come back and fight Nate Diaz? And do you think that UFC 200 needs George St. Pierre on it to make it a historic night?
No. How many title fights are already on the card?
Well, we've got two confirmed. Maybe
we've got an
3.
interim one, and that's a rematch between Edgar and Aldo. And you got Miesha Tate versus Amanda Nunes. And people don't really know Amanda very well, so it's not really a fight that a lot of casual fans are going to be excited for. So at the moment, you've got a couple, but nothing massive.
I think these interim belts are a joke. I think they're a freaking joke. And they're just a way to lie to the people and bullshit them and tell them it's champion versus champion, and it's an important fight. That's all it's for. And I just say, all right, this guy's the number one contender, getting ready to fight the champion. Leave it at that. Those belts are meaningless.
Now, Don, obviously, it's going to be interesting what happens with the event, but we have to get your thoughts before we let you go on another event that was a little bit disappointing in Bellator 149, which had Kimbo Slice versus Data 5000 and Ken Shamrock versus Hoyce Gracie. First off, what did you make of the Kimbo versus Data fight? We know that Data suffered from a health issue, but what did you think of Slice's performance in that fight? Because a lot of fans sort of had a lot of criticism about it. It didn't work out the way they thought it would.
I didn't see the show, buddy. I just saw, the knee from, I just saw the knee from Hoyce into Ken's belly button. It was nowhere near his pecker, and so there's no reason for that complaint. And then I saw the Dada and the Kimbo thing where the hell they were just laying down, sweating, and taking a nap. It looked like, they wore themselves out in the first round. So shouldn't they have just make that a one-round fight?
I think a lot of people expected that to be a one-round fight. Kimbo's now fighting your past opponent from Pride 34, James Thompson. I got to get a prediction from you, Don. Who do you think will win that fight?
I think Thompson will win. I think, I like Kimbo. I really like Kimbo. Really nice man. I met him, several years ago, and I think he's a very polite guy. But I mean, if he's not going to train with Boss Rutan, he's going to have major problems. And James is smart enough. I'm hoping he's smart enough to get a proper training camp going and come after the situation. I mean, the only reason he lost the last time is because some fucking idiot in his corner forgot to drain his ear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he needs a whole new corner, a whole new team. If that's the idiot you're surrounding yourself with, man, I might as well walk in there with a beer and a cigar.
There's a lot of criticism about Kimbo. Obviously, there was the failed drug test. There was also his last few performances and the fact that he obviously looks like injuries are preventing him from having a proper training camp and stopping him from sort of looking the way he used to. Do you think he's got long left in the sport? And do you think that Bellator sort of putting him in these fights is good or bad for the promotion?
Well, I think it's good for the promotion because they're making money. They're selling tickets. So that's great for the promotion. Now, whether Kimbo sticks around or not, that's up to him. I mean, because he come out of nowhere doing trailer park fights, and now he's on the international scene. He's making movies. So I think, he's done a hell of a job with what he did. And, making movies is a real good way to finish your world, finish your life.
And Don, just before we let you go, just wondering, we know you've been dealing with some health issues, but is the offer to have Frye versus Kimbo fight still on the table, or has it expired? Because we know not too long ago you were keen on facing Kimbo. Are you still interested, or are you past that?
Well, hell, I'm always interested in beating somebody up. I'm getting paid for it. So, yeah, if Scott Gover give me a phone call, I'd be interested in something like that. It looks like I'll take the winner between Kimbo and James Thompson, and I think it'll be the big fat white guy.
Well, there's definitely some history there, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, before we let you go, I know a lot of fans love to know what you're getting up to, and you mentioned your movie projects, but are there any other upcoming events or anything you'd like the fans to look out for over the next few months, or anything that you'd like them to check out?
Well, we did this show Street Level, and it was packed full of good actors and names, and had Danny Trejo in it for one, and Charisma Carpenter, and geez, I mean, it was just a hell of a show, and I hope they're able to sell it to Fox or somebody, because they made it for a movie or a TV show, either way, and I'm working on a project myself. I can't spill the beans, but I need to get that thing rolling and get that finished. And I think it'll be a good thing. It's a kind of a reality show.
Wow! Can you give us a hint about what kind of what at least what the sort of theme is? What's the topic? What sort of reality are you covering, Don?
No, I'm not going to give you a hint.
All right. Well, I tried. All right. I basically asked you to spill the whole thing.
You have to wait for your money like everybody else.
Oh man, you saw it coming. All right, well, we'll be checking out Street Level. I mean, obviously, we hope it gets picked up, Don. And guys, make sure to follow Don on Twitter at DonFryFighter. Once again, Don, thank you so much for jumping on the show, chatting with us in your time. We hope Street Level gets picked up when we see it. We chat to you soon.
All right, ladies. Thanks a lot.